Hello everyone, it's Carol here at Oak House Journals, and I've got my pieces in front of me for week 33 of Margarete Miller's Collage Weekly Challenge of 2024. I always find that a mouthful for some reason. So let's see what we can create. I hope you're all happy and well, and yeah, let's crack on and see what I can do with these pieces. So here are the prompts. The first prompt is a leaf or leaves. Well, I fussy cut these ivy leaves, and there were a few further down the page from the book where I cut these out. I think that one went something like that, and there was another little portion here. The second prompt, something made from wood. Well, I've gone with this church door, so the wood is the door and also these protective gates outside, so I'm going to be using that. Graph paper. I've got a couple of pieces here, just scraps. As you can see, they're marked, but I don't think that will be an issue. The reason I've chosen this is because I hope you can see the lines are a very delicate green, so it should match my ivy leaves and also my door, also I'm hoping. So let me pop that there. The next prompt is something that makes you happy. So I've gone for something that is a play on the word happy. This, as you can see, is a reproduction wine label. It's from a book. I like wine, and obviously if you drink too much of it, it will make you happy. So I'm going to use that wine label. And also something else that makes me happy is a very fine turned hand. If somebody has lovely penmanship, I am absolutely in awe of it, whether it's calligraphy or just plain normal handwriting. So I've got a piece here from a French mathematical exercise book, and as you can see, the writing is just gorgeous. Let me flip that over for you because there's a little bit more on the other side. So I've got those to hit the prompt for something that makes you happy. As you can see here, I've got a gentleman, or, well, not a gentleman, I was going to say a gentleman rabbit. I've got a rabbit, or could possibly be a hare with those long ears, very dapperly dressed, sat very comfy in a chair sipping some tea. And that is what I'm choosing to hit the second to last prompt, which is an animal with fur. And the bonus, a receipt. Now, I've got two here. These are vintage receipts. It says received this 20th day of March 1857, so I could use that one, but I also have this one. This is a vintage receipt from some solicitors. Well, this itself is the invoice from some solicitors for a house purchase, but this portion on top is the actual receipt that these solicitors issued, and as you can see, it's been signed by Brighouse Jones and Co., which are a firm of solicitors that are still in existence now, and this dates back to 1938. Given its size, I will be working with that portion of the receipt. Now, I'm not going to take that off just yet until I'm certain, but I think this little one is the one I'm going to be working with. If not, I have this one as a fallback. Let me pop those to one side, my prompts up above, and let's see what I can create with these bits and bobs. I thought I could have something like that there with my door perhaps a little higher up there, which means I need to bring this down. Probably take away a portion off the bottom, and with these ivy leaves, I was thinking that I would have them going over the top here, framing the door. I may well chop it down there so that I can get everything on, but I'm just placing this at the moment to see if it's going to work. I do have a little bit of play in terms of where I can position this, so if I need to, I could just move it around a little bit, and actually straight away that is sitting a lot better. I'm going to bring this over a little bit more to the right, but not my leaves. See if I can get away with those going there like that. I thought my rabbit could sit something like that, and maybe use that bottom line of writing to ground him. These leaves are a little bit big, really, for what I had in mind, but I did like them, and I thought, well, let's give it a go and see if you can make them work. So I'm thinking something like that. Now, what am I going to do with this? Now, I don't necessarily want that writing, although I am a fan of writing, but I am liking the colours that I've got here. So I may well trim that across the top there, and wondering about tucking that in behind, something like that. Maybe turn it round a little bit. Let's have a look at it this way round. No, it does go better the other way round. The reason I've chosen this particular label is because I've got 2 dots of red there, and I've got red on my guy down here, so I'm hoping that it's going to work in terms of the rule of 3. So let me have a fiddle with this and see if I can get this in place. Let's take that away. Pull that right over to there. And what I'm doing is I'm visually lining up this line roughly with that on there. I'm pulling it in a little bit because I'm conscious that I've got to get my graph paper on here. That will give me my 2 bits of red. And let's bring this back in. And that is working better because I'm getting that hint of red between the leaves there. I will need to trim this right hand portion of leaf so that it lines up with this line down here. I could use those as well, but not for now. I could use these tucked in behind here to give me some depth with the background. What I thought I would do next is take away a portion along the bottom here and cut away round the coloured portion of my wine label. Not sure if I want this edge showing down there, but for the moment I'm going to leave it because I need to get my graph paper in and I want to have a look and see what that looks like, and I've also got to get my receipt in. So let's play with a piece of this first and roughly try and slot it in behind. I'm going to take it over that edge initially, so I'm going under the wine label, under the leaf and over the top of my handwriting. So I'm just going to ease that over. It's a big piece. I'm not sure that I want a piece actually that big. It certainly sits well in terms of the colours. It is too big here, and it would be nice to have it going across behind, something like that. I'm going to reduce this in width. So I've trimmed this edge down with my decorative trimmer, and I'm just going to pop it back in place. Have a quick look. Something like that. Okay, I'm not liking how stark it is down there. Might be where my receipt comes in. Maybe I could use this up here as well to give me more play with the leaves, or even bring it in down here like that so that it actually makes him look like he's sat on a leaf. Morning everyone, and you might wonder why I'm saying good morning in the middle of a video. Well, the eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed that my shirt has changed, and the reason for that was that I was working on this towards the end of the day yesterday, ended up having to leave it, but with fresh eyes this morning it's not right. I'd already mentioned that I didn't think these leaves were working because they were too big, but I thought at the time yesterday that I could make them work. What I wasn't liking was the white space that I had here. I thought that I could maybe use this on here, or actually use it underneath my rabbit's chair. But this actually doesn't look like a leaf, so I've discounted that. To deal with this, there was an option. If I just try and anchor everything down, there was an option of trying to slide a piece of graph paper in behind it, and that actually does work, and it works a lot better. But I'm still thinking I might be able to do something better with that. Not 100% sure, but I think I can. The other thing that I was concerned about was this. Now this grid paper down here is the same as up here. The lines are green, which is lovely because it ties in with that and the vegetation, but it's got a white background. Now I was actually thinking that I could use maybe a little scrap of leaf down there, but predominantly I was going to use my receipts for that, and I was going to use this one. And I was looking at this word and maybe a bit of the writing. I actually had a look and came up with this. It's an invoice, but it is receipted, and this is a receipt stamp, and it's green. And I was thinking, oh, I could rip a portion of that and have that up in there. And that's a better colour tone with that. So that was kind of where I was going with that. I could use a portion of that and also maybe a portion of this as well. So I was looking at all of those options, but the other thing that occurred to me was, whilst my lovely little quirky rabbit down here felt like he worked, I wasn't so sure about that because he's quite a flat colour. I was relying on the red on his chair and up here to give me that pop of colour, which would have worked, but it kind of gives me quite a flat looking collage or assignment. So I want to try and change out one or two things. I would say if you see this little book, grab it. There's the ISBN number if you want to do a screenshot, because it's got some lovely images in here, as you can see there. I was looking at this primarily for another furry animal. So I knew I'd got these two images inside, but I think these are too big. These are birds, they won't do. That one, it's got vegetation in front of it, so that one won't do. Similarly, that one, but as you can see, the images are just gorgeous. I was thinking I could maybe cut out this one and have it down here, and that would give me some nice interest as well with having these yellow flowers down there. So I think that would work, and the green of the leaves would tie in with the church doors. These are hedgehogs. I thought about these two. Now, these are lovely. They would give me the right scale of animal to go in this corner. And I've got two, which gives me a little bit more interest. They're also a brighter colour, so I like those. This one's no good because it's on mushrooms, so I discounted that one. And then I came across this page. There's nothing on the back that would work other than there's a robin there, as you can see. Now I thought about this one because it's got some red berries, and I'm leaning towards that one, but I really do like these two, and I'm wondering whether to fussy cut these and to fussy cut that one and just have a change out and see what they look like. As I say, these have got red on, which would tie in with that up there. And the other thing I wondered about was using maybe that down in this corner here. So I'm going to go away and I'm going to do some fussy cutting. Okay, so I'm back, everyone, and what I've decided to do is stay with this little rabbit here. After all, these mice, they're just not right. This one is about the best, but doesn't really sit well with the rest of the collage. So this was the other one, not liking this one at all. This one, trying to pick it up here, this one was the one I showed you that I was going to cut out. Much too big, dominates everything, so not working. So I'm taking out all of those and I'm going back to my little rabbit here, and I'm going to have him half on and half off the lovely handwriting here. Now the reason for that is so that I can get his ears showing nicely and also break up this straight edge down there, because if I pull him over, I've got this horrible straight edge, which I'm not liking. So I'm just going to move him over a little bit, just so that I've got that broken edge. And this piece of paper here, this piece, I've moved in from the border, as you can see, just a little bit. So that's going to go on there like that. Now, I've changed out these leaves. I'm really not happy with them. They're too big. So again, from that same book, I've cut out this sprig. Now it's actually two. If I flip it over, I'm hoping you can see, look, there's a join there. It was two separate sprigs, and I've joined them together, and I'm going to have this up here. I'm going to use this leaf here to cover up that little bit in there like that. And this leaf here, because it's going over the edge, not too bothered about the rest of these, which are breaking up that working edge, but this little leaf I'm going to put up in here to break that up a little bit more. I've got a piece of this graph paper and I'm just going to tuck it in behind, and I'm going to line it up with this piece here so that it looks like it's a continuation piece, and then this little leaf is going to go up in there somewhere. No reason other than it felt better to continue it along. The other thing you might have noticed is this. I've turned it round so that the other red spot is hidden under here, and I've got this sort of like a browny red piece here, which is tying in with that piece of plasterwork down the side of the door. Right, the receipts. Now, I really love this stamp, but if I put it this way on here and just use this portion, it's not going to work because I'm going to get this showing. If I turn it round this way, something like that, then yes, it will work. My working edge will be at the end of these two lines here, so not that third line there. I get this nice staggering down here, but what I'm getting is the blue. There's blue on this receipt here, which I've got nothing else blue on my piece, and I think that'll stand out like a sore thumb. So I'm not going to use it. Actually, in honesty, there is a hint of blue on here, but not enough, I don't think, to get away with using that. And as much as I said this one was going to be sacrilege to use, I think I might use a very small portion of this, maybe just a couple of lines. So this is where we're at so far, and the final piece I need to get in is my receipt. I've got a fold along here, and I'm very carefully going to try and tear that away. Also do a fold under that second line of text and try and rip it away. So as you can see, I'm just playing with that strip to see whether I like it staggered out the side here, which I am actually liking, but what I'm not liking is this line of text going in the opposite direction to this line of text there, and not too keen on that staggering at the bottom. This I wouldn't leave straight anyway, I would cut it on my decollage trimmer, so I'm just wondering about tucking it up in here higher, level that text off here so that it's straight there and slightly staggered at the bottom. Let's have a look at that and see what that does. I'm wondering if I put that up higher. That is actually working better for me because I'm not liking that text showing, so I might even try and push it up a little bit higher. Let's have a look at that. And actually that's working much nicer, I think. So I'm going to just play with that just a little bit more, and I think I'm going to go with that, everybody. I'm going to glue this piece onto my background now. This is my finished collage for this week, everybody. Part of me wants to go in and use this little stamp here or something like that in that bottom corner, but actually I think because of how this portion is placed, I'm not going to be able to get something in there that sits nicely. The other option I could put down there is a leaf, but I don't have any more of these leaves left. I'm walking away for this week. It's been a bit of a challenge, bit of a struggle to get here, but I'm much happier with this composition than I had originally at the end of the day yesterday. So quickly, let's go through the prompt. The first one, a leaf or leaves. Well, I went with a cluster of leaves up here, something made from wood. Well, I've got my church door here and also my gates here, graph paper down here, and as you saw, another portion behind that cluster of leaves. Something that makes you happy. Well, I went with wine, and I also went with this lovely handwritten piece from a French exercise book. An animal with fur. There's my little dinky rabbit sat comfortably down here sipping his cup of tea, and bonus a receipt. Well, I used that portion of a vintage receipt down the side there. So a little bit tortuous this week trying to figure out how to get this one to work, but I think I got there in the end. So thank you for persevering and bearing with me. Hope you enjoyed seeing it come together, and as always, please pop by and join me next week when I tackle assignment number 34. So until then, have a great week, happy crafting, and bye bye from me.